Live from the WTXL studios, this is ABC 27's News at Noon.
The outrage sparking again in Missouri, protesters visibly showing their anger and frustration with police after yet another black teen is shot and killed by an officer. Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Bartoli. Thank you for joining us here on the News at Noon. All eyes once again shifting to Missouri, where another young man was killed by an officer, this time happening in St. Louis overnight. According to police, an off-duty officer chased an armed man on foot while he was working as a security guard. Investigators say the man then shot at the officer, and in return, the officer returned fire and killed him. According to USA Today, relatives have identified the victim as Vonderrit Myers Jr. Not long after the shooting, protests erupted near the scene and people began tweeting with the hashtag 16 shots and Shaw shooting. Here's a bit of that protest. This death coming just 2 months after 18-year-old Michael Brown was killed by a Ferguson, Missouri police officer. Tension in the state remaining at an all-time high. Here locally, the Dream Defenders are once again letting their voices be heard following the tasing and arrest of a 62-year-old Tallahassee woman. The Dream Defenders and members of the community rallied outside the courthouse this morning. They want to meet with State Attorney Willie Meggs about the potential prosecution of the Tallahassee Police Department officer Terry Mahan, among other issues. Last week, video of Viola Young being tased was released, and Police Chief Michael DeLeo announced an internal investigation and put Mahan on administrative leave. The Dream Defenders are now calling for more action to address the growing problem.
Police brutality is something that's ongoing in Tallahassee, not just in what we hear in Ferguson or even in New York, but even in Tallahassee is a critical issue that we want to make sure our state attorney, Willie Mays, is made aware of, and try and bring people to support the people who have had police brutality against them.
And we will have continuing coverage coming up this evening on the News at 5. That video of Young being tased is not just drawing attention from the community, though, but local leaders as well. Tallahassee Commissioner Bill Proctor will host a citizens conference on public safety tonight. The goal of the event is to bring the community together to discuss public safety and the police department's relationship with residents. If you would like to take part, it all starts tonight at 6:30. It's at the Philadelphia Primitive Baptist Church on Dunn Street. The Tallahassee Regional Airport is looking at the possibility of becoming an international airport. Yesterday, city commissioners voted to allow staff to pursue international status. It all happened in their city commission meeting. Officials believe that it would also bring positive growth to the local economy. According to Commissioner Scott Maddox, the airport has already brought in $22 million in increase in a short period of time, and he says with an international designation, that number could easily be topped.
Our bottom line is we want more flights for lower fares. Anything we can do to lower costs and bring more economics into the airport to help with that goal, the better.
The project is expected to take 3 to 5 years and could cost as much as $3.5 million. Florida State University is now one step closer to reaching its goal of being one of the top 25 universities in the entire country. That's because the FSU Business School was just ranked number 18 in the nation. Officials say that high ranking is just continuing to push them to do even more. The school's plan is to continue bringing in internationally known faculty, developing state-of-the-art facilities like this stock trade room, and beefing up their online presence.
People like to be associated with top programs, and we're getting more attention like this about our very good programs and our outstanding faculty, and that just people want to be invested in that.
And according to the U.S. and World News Report, the school is currently tied as the 43rd public university in the country. All right, time to get a check of our forecast now with an FSU alum himself, meteorologist Max Zapera, standing by in the Weather Center, bringing some heat with you today.
Yeah, it is already stifling out there, and it's only lunch hour, several more hours of heating to go. Always good to see our FSU numbers going up in the rankings, but we're seeing the temperatures outside going up as well. at this lunch hour. 84 in the capital city. Similar conditions over in Thomasville, Valdosta, a degree warmer. And we're holding on to a few clouds out there, but we'll call it a mix of sun and clouds later on this afternoon. Now, we do have a little bit more fog to talk about in the 7-day forecast. None as dense as we saw yesterday, and we're keeping up this hot trend. Check out today's numbers that we're going to be seeing. Low 90s, definitely not out of the question for most of the region. This after we got down to 44 Sunday morning, so a stark contrast to what we were just a few days ago. Don't worry, fall will return after some rain coming back into the forecast, but that's still a ways away. And we got a lot more heat to deal with. Around 90 by 3 p.m. getting the kids back from school, and by your evening commute, still stifling. Got to keep the windows up and the AC blasting because we're talking about another hot one out there today. In your full 7-day forecast, we'll let you know how much rain we're expecting with our next cold front, when that is, and when the big cool down is on the back end of that system. We'll have all the numbers and timing of all that coming up in a couple minutes. Kelly?
All right, thank you, Max. In other news this noon, it seems the death of Thomas Duncan, the first person to be diagnosed with Ebola in the U.S., is serving as a wake-up call to people around the nation. A new patient who came into contact with Duncan, now at a Dallas hospital for evaluation himself. Sheriff's Deputy Michael Monning was rushed to the Dallas hospital after fears that he may have contracted Ebola. He delivered a quarantine notice to Duncan's family last week, actually entering the apartment without protective gear. Health officials are taking better action with Monning, hoping to avoid making the same mistake they made with Duncan. But the outrage is continuing to build across the country. Nearly 200 airport employees are walking off the job, saying they are not being kept safe.
In the light of the Ebola scare and the so many infectious diseases that are coming through the airports, you would think that a contractor would do more.
And overnight, a vigil for Duncan took place in Dallas. His family will remain under quarantine until October the 19th. Well, as the news at noon continues, somebody please keep an eye on Robin Thicke. It seems things are officially about to be over with his wife. We've got the story coming up in your entertainment news. Plus, a new round of wildfires hitting the West Coast, this time taking aim on Sacramento. And a case of mistaken identity has left one family shaken. Find out what happened when we return.
I've seen some suspicious person walking around in my neighbor's yard. There was a black kid with looks like dreadlocks. He walked down beside the house and looked like he may have walked in the house.
That was a real 911 call made by the neighbor of Ricky and Stacy Tyler in North Carolina. And what seems like general concern from a neighbor, though, now sparking outrage. It turns out the intruder that the caller was talking about was none other than the couple's adopted son, Deshaun Curie. And the controversy does not end there. When officers showed up, they argued with Curie inside of his own home before then pepper spraying him. The officers say when they asked Curie for his ID, it didn't match the home's address. His family says, though, that's because they had just moved into that home a few months ago.
I'm feeling, comfortable, and, I didn't move in my room, and, I'm feeling like I'm loved. And then when they come in and then just to profile me and say that I'm not who I am and that I do not stay here because there was white kids on the wall, that really made me mad.
The police department says race was not a factor in the incident, saying they only pepper sprayed Curie after he became belligerent and threatening. Police in Pennsylvania now have a chilling letter from Eric Freen to help give a look inside his life and mind. It reportedly tells how he gunned down officers last month, but doesn't give a reason why. Police say they found the journal at the same campsite where Freen reportedly left 2 pipe bombs more than a week ago.
I will tell you, after reading this cold-blooded and absolutely chilling account, I can only describe Eric Freen's actions as pure evil.
Freen has been on the run for 27 days now. He shot 2 police officers, killing one of them. Looking now at your international news, and beginning in Thailand, the Burmese migrants accused of murder of 2 British tourists have taken back their confessions. The men say they made the admissions under distress. A lawyer says one of the men only admitted to the crime after being beaten by police. They are accused of killing David Miller and Hannah Witheridge. The tourists were murdered on September 15th. Their bodies found partially undressed on a Thai resort island. New information now about the 2013 prostitution scandal in Colombia. 8 Secret Service employees were fired after they hired prostitutes at this hotel ahead of a presidential visit. According to the Washington Post, and despite denial from the White House, a White House aide may have had a prostitute staying overnight with him at his hotel. At the time, the aide in question was an unpaid intern and the son of an Obama donor. Have you ever finished a Red Bull and wondered where your wings are? Apparently you are not alone. So much so that the company has now agreed to pay out $13 million to settle a false advertising lawsuit. And if you don't want the $10 in cash that the company is offering consumers, you can opt for $15 in Red Bull products. No proof of purchase is necessary. And I think I know what Max Paris is going to do as soon as we are done here with the news at noon.
That's crazy.
You're getting your $15 of Red Bull products, aren't you?
No. Let's get the 10.
Hey, we have an early wake-up call. Sometimes you just need it, but I didn't think it would give me wings. So,
what if you didn't drink it and you've no proof?
Nope. I don't know. That's what it says.
I don't know.
We're going to have to investigate.
Kind of weird. All right. Well, don't fly too close to the sun. It is going to be very hot out there for sure today, whether you're on the ground level or up in the sky as well. Talking about temperatures heating up already into the 80s. A very hot, hazy, and humid view off the Napleton Tower Cam. Not a cloud in sight. Looking southbound towards Wakulla County there. We'll let you know when our next rain threat is coming up in your full 7-day forecast next.